Today I'm going to be discussing the newest UFC fight announcements and some of the fight rumors as well. We've had a couple of really big fights announced for like UFC Serbia and like the Oklahoma card coming up in a couple of weeks as well. And I wanted to go through some of the newest fight announcements, being Kevin Holland versus Jacoby Smith. We've got Cannonier versus Gregory Rodriguez, Uros Medic versus Daniel Rodriguez, Aleksander Rakic versus Marcin Tybura, Ante Delija versus Johnny Walker, and then we've also got Dricus du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman in the works. And I wanted to chat about these matchups today. We'll talk about some of the ones that have already been announced. The first one I wanted to get to was Ante Delija versus Johnny Walker. This is sort of the era where guys are moving up finally. Like the guys that I've been looking at for years, like Johnny Walker, Aleksander Rakic, or guys like Paulo Costa even, and Reina de Ritter. Everyone is now moving up. Especially in these heavier weight classes, it's sort of becoming the time where we've got guys who have really tried out a weight class for a very long time, and now they're finally switching it up and moving to divisions that suit their body shape a little bit better. This is going to be a great fight, though. Ante Delija, I really do think he'll slime out Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker's chin is non-existent. Watching him almost get slept by like a 15-year-old welterweight really cemented that one for me. But it's going to be fun, though, whilst it lasts. Johnny Walker, for the last couple of fights, he has been fighting a little bit more off the back foot, not really engaging too much. I think he knows that his chin's not too great. And against a guy like Ante Delija, being on the back foot, maybe he can get the leg kicks off on Ante. Ante was getting hit with a fair few leg kicks against guys in the regional career. And he does have a boxing stance, doesn't check the leg kicks too well. So maybe that's a strategy he can employ, or that Johnny Walker can employ against Ante Delija. But I think the way that Ante moves forward with like the arm punches sort of, and just swings wild hooks, sort of like an Iber Aslan, I think that if he can pin Johnny Walker up against the cage, the thing is about Johnny Walker is that this is probably a controversial opinion. His chin isn't that bad. Like, I've seen him caught with big punches and not get slimed out. But I've not seen someone get consistently hit with as big shots as Johnny Walker. And that's because, and it's always up against the cage, and it's because whenever he's circling out, he almost circles into the power side every single time without fail. And he just gets slimed out every time with like really heavy punches. And a guy like Ante, who does throw heavy, who does have decent footwork, and he can trap you up against the cage, that's just a recipe for disaster for Johnny Walker here. And I think he is going to get slept in Belgrade, Serbia. And I think Ante is going to have a great performance here. Now, another heavyweight fight with another light heavyweight moving up is Marcin Tybura versus Aleksander Rakic. I don't really know why it wasn't made the other way around. Like, Johnny Walker's barely ranked in light heavyweight. Rakic is still ranked and ranked a little bit higher, fighting a lower ranked Tybura than Ante. I feel like you probably should have done Johnny Walker versus Tybura and then Rakic versus Ante, but I guess that they're both from a similar region. Maybe they didn't want to put that together. But this is a fun fight. Like, Marcin Tybura looked decent-ish against Tyrell Fortune, looked terrible against Ante, but this is going to be fun, and I think that Rakic, he is going to win this one against Tybura. Tybura, he can beat guys if you're also a heavyweight blob, but if you're a technical guy like Rakic is, I think Rakic is going to do well in the heavyweight division. I really do, because the reason why he's getting slept by these guys is they're walking through his shots, they're trudging forward, they're landing better ones on him. They're a lot faster, more explosive than he is. And he is very fast and explosive. And against some of these ploddy heavyweights, he's going to be way more technical and way faster. And one thing about Rakic, especially in this matchup, his takedown defense and his actual grappling as a whole, he's got really, really good grappling. And that's all that Tybura will have against Rakic here. He's not going to sleep Rakic, in my opinion. Even though Rakic is known to have a glass jaw, I think that's more so because he doesn't have the confidence to really sit down on his punches, and then he's getting slimed out by people moving forward. And against Tybura here, Tybura has not got the same chin as a guy like a Yuri Prohaska, and he doesn't have the speed of a guy like, who did Paulo Costa to beat? Asmat Mirzakhanov. So with those sorts of fights, Tybura is not going to have that same explosiveness, that same even boxing speed or power. And he's not slick on the feet. He just has a couple of crafty moves here and there in the grappling. And Rakic is going to defend every single one of those takedowns. And he is going to destroy the leg of Marcin Tybura. And I think he's going to get a leg kick TKO in round 2. Now, Daniel Rodriguez versus Uros Medic. This is the main event of UFC Belgrade, UFC Serbia. I'm a little bit underwhelmed and disappointed about this matchup. Although I am excited to see Daniel Rodriguez come back into the octagon, I'm not that excited because Daniel Rodriguez has been in prison for the last multiple months in Mexico. And since UFC 318, when he got the razor close win over Kevin Holland, he has been ranked, but that was in July of last year. And they're going to be fighting again in July, I think, in August. So over 12 months off, and he's fighting Uros Medic. I would have been way more excited for a Leon Edwards versus Uros Medic. But maybe as a JDM fan, this is good because it could be Leon Edwards versus JDM. Maybe he gets done by calf kicks again, though. But let's not talk about that. This is a good fight, but I don't think that this is a main event. If there was anyone from Serbia that we could give this fight, I would. Or if you could give him Leon Edwards or give him Yaroslav Amosov, give him someone a little bit more entertaining than Daniel Rodriguez. Someone who's a prospect in their own right, not 35-year-old Rodriguez, who's been beaten by many a welterweights. Uros Medic, he is absolutely cooking people very early into their fights, but he's also getting cooked early into fights. And I could see Daniel Rodriguez with his leaping forward Ronda Rousey boxing. I could see him catching Uros Medic here. And I think that one thing I really do like to see with 5-round fights, this is why I wasn't excited for, Zhang Mingyang versus Johnny Walker. And fights similar to that, where you just look at them and you go, this ain't going 5 rounds, and if it does, it's going to be a terrible fight. I want to see two guys, and it's okay, if this goes 5, I want to see these guys tested. I want to see if they can go 5. I don't really care if either of these guys can go 5. Because, for one, Uros Medic, if he wins, it's in the first round. And if he loses, it's in the first round as well. So you may as well just have this as a 3-rounder. I do lean towards Uros Medic, though. The way that Daniel Rodriguez leaps into range, I can see him getting caught with a straight punch. The way that he leaps into range is throwing these wide hooks, running forward. And I think Uros, if he can really set his stance early, I think he can land a nasty 1-2 on Daniel Rodriguez and put him down and sleep him. Especially being out of the cage, he's going to have some ring rust coming into this one. Now, the next one I wanted to talk about, it was Jared Cannonier versus Christian Leroy Duncan. This one's on the Oklahoma card. I assume it's the co-main event. I'm considering going with the Cannonier pick here, which is a little bit weird because Cannonier looked really bad against MVP in August of last year, and it's been a while. This will be July 18th, so 11 months since his last fight. 11 months. If this was straight after that MVP fight, I really could pick him. I'm leaning towards Christian Leroy Duncan, though. But I could really be swayed because Christian Leroy Duncan, he's a very good fighter. He has some really cool moves. He's got the nasty spin to win. But he is also it's hard to describe it. The simple stuff of Christian Leroy Duncan is not effective. His jab, his straight, his low kick, all of them could be, but he doesn't throw them often at all. And I think a guy like Jared Cannonier, he's seen everything. He's not going to get done by a spinning elbow. He's not going to get done by a flying knee. And when you've got only those highlight reel KO moves to work off, a guy like Cannonier, a slick boxer with nasty leg kicks. He's really good out of orthodox. If you see him switching southpaw throughout the first round, bet against him every day of the week. That's just a Cannonier thing. But Christian Leroy Duncan, he doesn't have the cleanness or the slickness to be able to get it done over Jared Cannonier. And I could see Cannonier hurting him in moments. There's no moment of Jared Cannonier's career where I don't think he beats on Roman Dolidze to the point of finishing him. And Christian Leroy Duncan had a razor-close fight with him. And now, maybe that's because Christian's a little bit weaker of a guy. He's not the most, physically imposing in the clinch. He can get outdone. He can get outdone in the grappling as well. And that's not really going to be Jared Cannonier's game, but I look at him and I'm just thinking, God, I don't know if you've got the strength to be able to outdo Cannonier here or sleep Cannonier here. Even a guy like Gregory Rodriguez landing the clean punches, landing the 1-2s. He wasn't able to get Jared Cannonier out of there, and he put him through hell for the first 5 minutes. So I'm really not confident in a CLD win here. But I can be switched. Like, I could go back and watch a couple of minutes of tape and be like, nah, he's way faster than Jared Cannonier. Now, the last announced fight I wanted to go through, it's Kevin Holland versus Jacoby Smith. This is really fun, and I think Jacoby Smith, from memory, called for this after his last fight, and this is a great fight to call for. Just because Kevin Holland, although he's getting out grappled by a lot of guys, and Jacoby Smith has got really good grappling, he's not like the next level, and he's not crazy different to Jacoby Smith. He's a lot more experienced, and he is going to be cleaner on the feet. But we're seeing Jacoby Smith come out there each time with incremental improvements on his striking, looking really strong, exploding when he needed to last time out. He didn't look like he was gassing himself out as much as he did in the Nico Price fight. But Kevin Holland can also really make people work in positions. And in a guy like Jacoby Smith, who's so inexperienced in the UFC, Kevin Holland may be able to get a sub or latch up a nasty armbar, latch up like similarly to how we did Mikhail Aleksander, or he could even finish him on the feet with that straight 1-2 that he finished Joaquin Buckley with. Similar build as well between Joaquin Buckley and Jacoby Smith, and I do see Kevin Holland pulling out a win here, but I'm going to have to watch some tape on this. Now, the last one that I wanted to talk about, this hasn't been officially announced, but it's basically been announced. It's DDP versus Kamaru Usman. And he's saying here that within the next week or so his fight's going to be announced. I think it is going to be Kamaru Usman. I don't see them putting him against like a Caio Borralho or a Nasruddin Imavov. Unless if they put him against Nasruddin Imavov, it means Khamzat Chimaev's getting an immediate title rematch. And you're going to see a video from me ranting about that if it does. But Dricus, he should have been in there recently because it's been since August of last year. And granted, he got out grappled for 24 minutes of a 25-minute fight. Maybe he's just spent the last year working on his grappling, which would be a great thing for him to do. But I just don't see him doing that. And I think that I don't see him doing that. I was having a look at his Twitter earlier, and he was just striking. And I know he's not going to be posting his grappling training. I get it. But this is a good opportunity for Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman just exposed the wrestling of Joaquin Buckley a fight ago from him, about 11 months or so ago. And Dricus du Plessis had his wrestling exposed again 11 months ago. So we're looking at two stylistic matchups where Kamaru Usman really could just outdo him on the ground. But if Dricus has been working on his wrestling like he said he has, he could also pull off a really good win here against Kamaru Usman, and you'd be putting him right up there with the title shot. Kamaru's got wins over Sean Strickland and Khamzat Chimaev, so whoever wins out of that rematch that I bet they'll put together, whoever wins that one is going to be wanting a rematch against Kamaru Usman because they both lost to it. Well, Khamzat made it very close, but Sean Strickland actually lost to him. So this is a fun fight to make. I think off an early prediction, I would give it to Dricus because Dricus, he did have the same amount of success against Khamzat Chimaev than Joaquin Buckley did against Kamaru Usman. But the difference is I think Dricus finishes Kamaru Usman even if he gets dominated for the first 4 rounds. I think he is that good, and I think he will make the necessary improvements. He is a champion. He's got more durability even than a guy like Joaquin Buckley, and he is so much better on the feet than Joaquin. The one thing, though, that does worry me is that both him and Buckley have this same style of when they come into range, they're throwing these wide, massive shots, and they're leaping into range for it. And you noticed when Kamaru Usman was fighting him, or when Khamzat Chimaev was fighting DDP, they're able to come straight under those shots and land nasty takedowns with minimal effort. So maybe Kamaru Usman can come in with that same game plan and do it. But I think Dricus is going to be the guy that makes those types of improvements, and he's going to be able to knock out Kamaru Usman. I think it'll be like a ground and pound TKO, like knocks him around the octagon for a couple of minutes and then just TKOs him. I want to see this fight happen though, and I really hope it is the main event of the Oklahoma Fight Night. I think that would be a great main event. Let me know what you think of these fights in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoy the video, leave a like and a comment, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.